So finally, I got to check out Realme UI 7 after I've made videos already on ColorOS 16 and OxygenOS 16. Now, why am I talking about these three Android UIs in the same breath? Because you know it, I know it, all three are based on the same ColorOS code base. Now, the one thing that I am trying to find out here is that does Realme UI 7 do anything differently? And the answer to that question is yes. There are some interesting things that are new. But is it enough to make Realme UI stand out? Is it like a really good OS experience? Is it as good as OxygenOS or ColorOS? Let me tell you all that in this video. If you're watching me for the first time, I'm Ashad. This is Trakin Tech English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Now, I want to kick things off with what's new in Realme UI 7 because there's a lot happening here this year. For starters, the lock screen customization gets a massive upgrade. The new full screen always-on display looks absolutely gorgeous. It stretches the wallpaper across the entire panel with a clean, seamless look. Now, tapping to wake and jumping from the always-on display to the lock screen feels incredibly fluid. Almost like the UI is gliding between layers. There's also a frosted glass treatment in the clock and the widgets, and you know where this inspiration is coming from, Apple. But it still does look pretty good, and it looks very premium. By the way, you still cannot edit the lock screen by long pressing on it. You still have to enter into settings, home screen and lock screen settings. But there is a new interface now, which is very similar to what we saw with ColorOS 16 and OxygenOS 16, both of which, all three of which look very beautiful. Basically, your lock screen preview sits right on top, and swiping down unlocks a set of well-organized options for wallpapers, always-on display styles, icons, and a whole lot more. And remember that reflective animation that we saw on OxygenOS 16 while browsing through Flux Themes? Well, you have that here on Realme UI 7 as well. It's a tiny little detail, but it adds a whole lot of charm the experience of using the OS itself. Now, inside the editor, you can choose from multiple clock styles, and you can now place up to 8 lock screen widgets. And the system intelligently rearranges widget positions based on which clock style you pick. Of course, Flux Themes 2.0 also gets a serious upgrade. With Realme UI 7, you now have animated themes, live clock faces, and support for personalized text as well. You can add your own lock screen message and choose from different fonts. And like I mentioned in the OxygenOS video, you have to keep the text short. If you keep it long, it gets trimmed. You also get scalable icons and folders on the home screen now, just like you have on ColorOS 16 and OxygenOS 16, which means that when you do this, you can actually have like a couple of extra shortcut options. So you can just add search here, and the moment you hit search on photos, it heads to search. Damn cool stuff. Similarly, you can also have scalable folders. So basically, you have the folder here. Look at this. You can do this. How cool is that? There's also new auto dark icons toggle, ensuring that icons automatically adapt when you switch to the dark mode. Now, app folders also get cleaner layouts, and the widget panel has been resized to look more streamlined and easier to browse. As expected, even the widgets can be resized freely. Basically, the whole design language is a lot more cohesive. It's got a lot of visual balance. I like it a lot. The app drawer has also been refined for better ergonomics. So basically what you have is the search bar is at the bottom. You've got this, alphabets at the side. And when you're swiping down on these letters, you can see that all the icons with that letter actually just pop up on top like an overlay. How cool is that? Apart from that, you also do have the categories, which basically is auto categorization of different kinds of apps into similar folders. For example, social tools, photography, entertainment. And this is very similar to what iOS has been doing for a while now. Now, with the quick settings as well, you do get subtle quality of life enhancements. You can reposition the brightness and the volume sliders, place up to 4 large toggles at the top. And of course, just like parallel animations 2.0 that we got with OxygenOS 16, you do have seamless animations on Realme, which means that opening and closing apps like this is super smooth. And just like parallel animations 2.0, you've got smoothness across the UI, including when you swipe down the notification panel, when you swipe up to the app drawer, when you open like the quick bar, all of these things extremely buttery smooth stuff. Now, the settings menu has also been given a major aesthetic makeover now, if you look at it. You'll notice bold sliders and a card-like layout for categories and a cleaner hierarchy that actually makes navigation much easier. There's also a dedicated Realme AI section that actually groups all of the AI features together. Take a look at this. And in this, you have all the features that we saw in OS 16 and COS 16. Basically, you get Mindspace, AI Writer, and AI Writer now pops up inside supported apps to suggest captions or rewriting options. There's also a new dock scanner that adds new correction tools like unblur, remove glare, and remove shadows, which definitely comes in handy. Like, I mean, a lot of college kids, like I know, use the dock scanner regularly. Now, all of these AI features is going to be very useful for you. And the sound recorder app picks up new abilities, AI generated summaries, and a clear voice mode that filters background noise. And the revamped video editor now finally feels like a modern video editor, just like how you would have on, say, the Edits app from Instagram. And of course, with Realme UI 7, you do get multi-device feature as well. Now, cross-device connectivity is smoother now. Now, let's talk about the things that are exclusive to Realme UI 7 or tiny little touches that sort of differentiate it from ColorOS 16 and OxygenOS 16. Now, the device connect section is renamed as cross-device connectivity in Realme UI 7, integrating device linking and multi-screen features into a clean dashboard. Of course, with Realme UI, you do get glance integration as well in the form of lockscreen posters, which is not the case with OxygenOS, but it's also the case with ColorOS. You also get an extra brightness mode in certain phones. For example, the Realme GT60 now has an extra brightness mode. There's also something called App Quick Freeze, which lives inside the power saving panel and automatically suspends rarely used apps to conserve battery. Realme Lab also includes a heart rate monitor that works with the fingerprint sensor, and the speaker cleaner feature uses sound bursts to clear dust from the speaker grills. Now, this is something that we've already seen, but yeah, these are unique to Realme UI. But one thing that is specifically unique to Realme UI 7, just to make it stand out visually, is this transparent dock that you see. It's not the best looking dock, but I think that it gives it character. Let me see if I can add one more app to this. Yeah, you can do like 5 icons here. So overall, if you look at it, Realme UI 7 is very similar to ColorOS 16, is very similar to OxygenOS 16. So largely the experience with all these 3 operating systems are going to be similar. Now, what will differentiate the experiences of these phones, especially Realme, OnePlus and Oppo, is to see if, these brands add any bloatware or pre-install any bloatware, or, if there are any lock screen integrations with glance. Those are the things that will separate OxygenOS from these two. But in general, I feel like the software experience is largely similar on all 3, and it is really, really good, including the fact that people don't talk much about Realme UI 7. So if OxygenOS 16 is goated, ColorOS 16 is goated, then I feel like Realme UI 7 is also goated. What do you guys feel? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.